Good morning. It's 9:59 a.m. on a Friday, a beautiful rainy Friday morning. I'm excited. We have a special guest in studio. We're going to chat for a bit before we go on the FM and get it going. So, hey, Crystal, how you doing?
Great. And yourself?
I'm doing good. Thank you for hanging out today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Can you tell me just a little bit about yourself? Maybe even like 30 seconds. What's your name? Where are you from?
Okay. Well, I claim Lamarck and Texas City. Lived in Texas City, born and raised in Lamarck, and went to Lamarck school districts. Now living in California as a voiceover and a recording artist. And yeah.
That's cool. That is cool.
Right?
That is. So in California, what part of California are you in?
I'm in Northern California.
Okay.
So San Francisco Bay Area up there.
Man, so the weather there is a lot different than the weather here. That's one of the main things I think about.
It is. It's drastically different. I'm a little bit closer to Lake Tahoe, and oddly enough, our summers are like a lot like Texas. So we're like 105, to 110 degrees.
Wow. That's
Feels
a little
like
too hot. Too hot for me. Hey, we're going to go ahead and go on the FM right now. If you're watching on Facebook, feel free to share this video out. Put it in one of your Facebook groups. Let me know what you got going on today and this weekend. We're going to be spreading some positivity as we talk to Crystal Tamar this morning. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Right now it is 10:01 on a Friday morning. I got a guest here hanging out with me. She's from Lamarck, Texas. I'm going to let her introduce herself, and then we can find out everything that she has going on. Good morning.
Good morning to you. My name is Crystal Cohen. My recording artist name is Crystal Tamar, right here from good old Lamarck, Texas.
How did you pick that name?
Crystal Tamar is actually my middle name.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's Crystal Tamar Cohen is my full name.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I was like, let me just go to the add the middle name in there because it kind of makes it more authentic.
Yeah, and that's important. Whenever you're picking like an artist name,
yes,
it really is. And so like your first name, your second name, like those are your names forever. Sometimes, getting married, you got to change your name, and that mixes up stuff.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, when I got married, changed the last name. And yeah, so the Crystal Tamar part is just kind of, it's back to my roots a little bit, and that's kind of reflective of the music itself.
Cool. So you grew up in this area. Before we went on the FM, you mentioned, hey, I claim both Lamarck and Texas City.
I do.
And these areas kind of weave in and out. What was it like growing up in this area for you?
Oh, my gosh. It's everything. Like living in California now, I appreciate those little things about living in a small town, living in little sister cities like Lamarck and Texas City, because everybody knows everybody. We used to run into our school teachers, in the grocery store. That does not happen. You don't know anyone in the grocery store where I live now.
Yeah.
So it's just those little humble beginnings that just mean the world to me.
Whenever you think of growing up here, is there something that sticks out? I'm thinking like even like food places, a certain teacher, something y'all would do like after school. What was one of the, some of the best parts of growing up right here in Lamarck?
Growing up, again, just everybody knowing everybody. I remember staying after school a lot and cultivating my musical talents, because I was in singing groups, and I remember freestyling with a few of the rappers from Lamarck High School, after school, and participating in all the programs in school. It was an area that was just really supportive. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody's gifts. And so that just made it all the better to be free and creative.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. So you have done a lot. Since graduating from Lamarck, you went on and you had a career as, I see your hat. You have a Texans hat on. Can you kind of share what happened with that?
Oh, man, it was so crazy. So after college, I had the random spur-of-the-moment idea to try out for the Houston Texans cheerleaders. Oddly enough, my boyfriend at the time, now my husband, called me the night before rehearsals. And this is the thing where like 1,200 girls would show up to audition at these things. And he's like, hey, did you see the paper? There's an audition for Texans cheerleaders. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I don't know. At this time, I had already planned to move to LA. I thought I was going to be like a Laker girl or something like that. And I prayed about it. I was like, all right, what's what, God? I got to that verse that was like, the fastest runner doesn't always win the race. And I was like, wait, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Just went out on a limb, woke up that morning, didn't tell anybody because I didn't want to be embarrassed if I didn't make it. Showed up at Reliant with 1,200 other women and just went for it. And man, God is so good.
Wow.
because after a couple of grueling rounds, actually made the team.
So how many girls make the team?
It was about 30 to 35. Oh, I'm showing my age, trying to remember.
Out of 1,200 that show up.
Yes. And it's a series of rounds that day, and then they have like final rounds, which happen, weeks down the line. Man. So you got to make it through 3 rounds on that first day.
That has to be a very tough process.
Insane. Like, to this day, one of the most insane audition processes I've ever been through in my life.
Going in, were you pretty confident, though?
Not even.
No.
Because a lot of these women, you do a lot of research. And you need to know what the team is like, what the team culture is like.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of girls look at the veterans and they learn, okay, who's on the team? Do I need to look like her? They plan these outfits years in advance to wear. And I was just like, okay, I got some, I don't know, a sports top and some shorts, from college dancing days and some Reeboks. Let's do it.
Yeah. So I think, did you go to Prairie View A&M?
I did.
And you danced there. Did you dance in Lamarck and like the drill team or something?
I cheered at Lamarck.
Okay.
Which was a odd transition to Prairie View because I was a majorette, which is just the dancing with the actual marching storm, the band there.
Mm-hmm.
Totally different style than obviously just,
yeah,
LHS. It was a lot more relaxed. You're going with the vibes of the band and so much fun. And I think the marriage of both of those things is what made it better for me once I got on the Texans, because you needed both.
Yeah, so you're pretty versatile when it comes to that.
I try to be.
Yeah.
I was, even at that time, it was learning as I went. I had no clue what I was doing, when I became a majorette. No clue what I was doing when I became a Texans cheerleader. Just tried to learn on the spot a lot and learn the new style and adjust.
Yeah, did you ever get feedback from the coaches, the staff say, hey, this is what we saw, you're able to take direction? Yes. Did they ever say, hey, this is why we picked you, even though you didn't have the, years of experience in this specific style?
Absolutely. My coach was very vocal and very hands-on with me. One thing that was super terrifying was I became a captain my first year on the team.
Of the Texans?
Yes.
Wow.
And I probably did maybe I'm trying to remember 2 or 3 games under, my current captain before I took over. And that's weird. You don't want to have to captain the veterans that are already there.
Yeah.
But just had an amazing, supportive team that helped me through that. And, I was just like, all right, God, I asked for this. Help me out here,
Was there any backlash from the veterans? Because I could easily see them being like,
oh,
it's crazy.
To this day, my best friends I found them on the team, and that entire squad is just motivating and loving and just like, girl, we saw you out there getting it at auditions. We were like, go, girl. And that's the kind of environment they had on the team.
Wow.
So great.
So how many years did you do that? Was it just the 1 year?
I did it 3 years.
3 years.
It felt more like 10 because it's an immersive experience,
right.
and but
That's
I did it for 3 years and then finally said, all right, moved on to music from there.
Okay. Was there a highlight of that 3-year career as a cheerleader? I know you've had the chance. I mean, that's a big stage. Every Sunday it's sold out.
Every Sunday.
Yeah.
A big highlight for me, and just another testament to how good God is my last year on the team. My team voted me to go to Pro Bowl in Hawaii and represent the team. So this is where you pick one girl from every NFL team, just like you pick, the players, and they fly you to Hawaii to represent the team, and you cheer on the sidelines. You do all these kind of events throughout Hawaii. Insane and completely humbling experience to be chosen by your teammates.
Had you been to Hawaii before?
Never.
Did you like it?
It was insane. To this day, I'm in love with Hawaii and the people there, just so loving. The food, it was great.
Awesome. Hey, did you get to take your husband? Did y'all get married during that time, or were y'all still dating?
We were engaged, I want to say, by that time. No, we were engaged much later. But he's the big Tiki fan.
Okay.
And so I really wanted to take him. But I realized when they sent us the itinerary, we'd have absolutely no time to play.
He's busy nonstop.
Nonstop.
See, if I was him, I'd have been like, so do you remember who actually suggested you go to this first tryout? Do you remember who was there rooting you on the entire time?
Yes.
We made the
really
Pro Bowl.
Bad.
We made the Pro Bowl.
It's so true. He made me these little podcasts to watch every morning, though, that would just kind of motivate me. And it was all like Tiki themed. The music started off.
That's awesome.
So he was there in spirit.
Yeah. And has it taken like a lot of support? Is it a teamwork thing with you guys, especially in this kind of career?
Oh my gosh, it is. My husband is my manager to this day. And that's very important to me because he knows me best. He can sense things before I even say them. So he knows where to direct me, and he knows what questions to pose in advance to kind of get my mind right. It is everything to me. To both of us, it's supposed to be a temporary thing. He's like, let me just fill in gaps until we find just the right person. But I honestly could not see myself doing it with anyone else.
Yes.
I could not.
Hey, good morning, Mayor Hawking. I see Mayor Hawking commented and said, hey, welcome home, Crystal. She can sing.
Oh, so sweet.
She can sing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Yeah. So after you had that experience as a Texas cheerleader for 3 years, what kind of led you into starting your music career?
That was a crazy transition as well, because I received a phone call from a childhood friend of mine from Lamarck, Cole Rose. Hey, Cole Rose. Hey, Nikki. And she said, dude, we haven't talked in like 6 years because we went to college together. And at this point, I'm working a 9 to 5 and I'm doing Texans. She calls, or her mom leaves a note on my dad's door. That's Lamarck for you. And she's like, have Crystal call Nikki. Dad calls me at work. He's like, Nikki wants you to call her. I call her. She's like, I haven't heard from you in 6 years. This is crazy, but I'm in a girl group and we're executively produced by T-Pain. We're signed to Atlantic Records and we need another member. We leave for tour in like 2 to 3 weeks. And can you fly to Atlanta tomorrow to audition?
Wow.
I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay. Prayed about it. Went on a little retreat, little camping trip with my husband over that weekend. Asked for her to give me the weekend to think about it. Prayed about it and flew out to Atlanta. The rest was history. It's crazy.
Those kind of things just don't necessarily fall in your lap.
They don't.
Wow.
That's God, because I was at that time, I very distinctly remember praying daily, God, please help me to do something that I love to do every day when I wake up. You know, because the 9 to 5 wasn't exactly what I wanted at that point.
Yes.
So when it happened, I was like, gotcha. You know,
that's awesome.
Let's move.
So when you were in school, like in Lamarck High School, middle school, what did you want to be when you grew up? Did you have an idea like what you wanted to do?
I always wanted to sing. That was my first love. That was kind of tricky once it got to college because I'm like, okay, how can I position myself to be able to grow and be a great singer? Went through a number of majors. Started off as theater major. Realized I love it, but not that much. You know, to put in that amount of time to it. Went to music major. That was a great thing, except I realized the only thing I can do with a music degree is teach, to my understanding at that time. So I was like, I need more. I went to communications ultimately, which equipped me with, you know, all the business things, the promoting and marketing that I needed to know in music, and it was just perfect for what I ended up doing.
Okay. And then in the meantime, you know, at Prairie View, trying to get your education right, and then dancing on the the team, kind of getting
Black Foxes.
That's awesome.
Oh, it was just a fun college life. Super busy.
Yeah.
You know, I think even dancing with the team, we had like 5 a.m. rehearsals. And so that kind of got me for the music industry too, because you never know what's going to happen, how late you're going to be working.
Yeah, I was talking to a gentleman the other day named Brandon Johnson who he played in the NBA and has an amazing story. I need to talk to him again. But he was sharing being an athlete, being involved in extracurricular as a college student. It's not the easiest to juggle your school, some kind of personal life, education, and then the extracurricular like dancing, going to the games and everything. How did you do it?
God is everything. I said it before and I'll say it again. God is everything, because he just gave me that balance and support that I needed. It was clear what he was doing, like cultivating gifts and whatnot. So I knew in the back of my head that the sacrifices that I would make for that was worthwhile. But gosh, you did have to, you know, set those boundaries every once in a while and say, all right, school. Don't forget about these books, though. Don't forget parents are paying tuition, though.
Right.
But, yeah, it worked out.
That's where I struggled. I don't like talking too much about myself, but it's just like, hey, you got your own dreams, and it's like school's like, I don't know. I want to do this.
Hello.
Yeah. During this whole process, when did you meet your now husband?
I met him my sophomore year of college in Houston. He had actually moved from California for work at the time. And it was just a perfect time to meet him because life got real. You know, I got busier, and just to have someone to have my back throughout the ups and downs, because I actually, the same childhood friend who called me to be in the group with T-Pain, we were actually in a singing group in college. And we were signed under a company called Star Management, who's managed the Temptations at the time.
Wow.
So we were flying back and forth to L.A. at a certain point in between, college to record. So I needed him right there to kind of help me balance even that in dancing in school.
Yes. Did you know, hey, this is going to be my husband?
I had an idea. I want to say within the first year or so, it was perfectly clear. I was like, oh, man, he knows me. Like, we have way too much fun together. He has my back against everything. My sister confirmed it, was like, that guy? Yes.
Different.
Yes, different. She's
awesome.
like, that's my brother. That's my brother.
So what kind of stuff did you learn? Your foot in the, I guess, full-time music door. You're out there working with, a group signed to Atlantic Records. Yes. I mean, did you learn a lot? What was that process like? I
cannot even express to you how much I learned, and it's super fast. Again, once I got in the group, we left for tour about 2 weeks in.
How much music and stuff did you have to learn?
Oh my gosh, so much. I had to learn the records that the group already had out in order to audition for T-Pain. So I learned about 2 or 3 records overnight, and with choreography to be able to perform in front of him. And then after that, or in the meantime, actually, recording new material that we could actually perform on tour with him. So you were getting a crash course in recording, a crash course in choreography, working with professional choreographers immediately. Just songwriting and just tour vibes too. You're going to be living on a bus, for a couple of months. And in between that, artist housing as well. It's crazy.
So T-Pain, he had to sign off on everything?
Yes, he was. So Atlantic made him executive producer of the project. That means he produces it and he writes a lot of the material. And at times we had other writers come in. But yeah, he had his hands on the creative process. Okay.
One thing that you notice about T-Pain's music, a lot of it has autotune, but if you've ever seen him perform, live or acoustic or anything like that, he doesn't need it ever. Like, he would never need it. He's very talented.
It would blow people's mind to hear his real voice, and some have these days. He doesn't need the auto-tune. He's actually the master of tweaking auto-tune. So it's an option for him, and it's kind of been his brand. But the man can sing. And so far as making hits, I mean, it speaks for itself because, major artists actually come to him to create their songs, and people don't realize that he's behind a lot of these things.
Yeah.
He's insane, and I've learned so much from him. I'm really grateful for that.
So what's different about the Atlanta music scene as opposed to other places, like even, California and here in Houston?
People are just on fire. They're passionate. It's a world that you don't even know exists until you get into it. There was just we would wake up daily and we would literally do, they would have already a producer and writer waiting for us eagerly, to go into the studio. You would knock out a song in sometimes it was an hour or an hour to 3 hours, knock out a song, and you do that Monday through Friday.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That seems like it's a dream almost come true.
It is. It really is. Because, you think singing, and singing on stage is one thing, and then recording in the studio is a whole other thing. So, yeah, that I had to learn a little bit as I went on with that as well.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about new music that's coming out, and then we can kind of fill in that gap. So what's going on currently right now?
So currently I'm actually doing my first solo thing, and it's I just released my solo EP on August 16th. And
what's it called?
It's self-titled Crystal Tamar.
All right.
And it's an EP because it's shorter than most albums, but we wanted to do quality over quantity for this album. We wanted to only put out things we absolutely loved. So if some records didn't meet the standard, it's like, all right, next time for you, guy.
Yeah.
But it's an awesome EP with just some fun records in there, showcasing a lot of my background in so some things that are more soulful and R&B, others that are a little more hip hop based. You'll hear that influence of T-Pain and hip hop tracks with R&B vocals over it. So a little bit of a variety.
Yeah. Who have been some big influences on you musically?
Oh my gosh. So I'm old school. When I was young here in Lamarck, I used to be in a singing group with my sisters and my cousin. My dad put us in a singing group, and we were called In Touch. We were called In Touch because we loved In Vogue. We were like obsessed with In Vogue, SWV, like all the R&B artists of that time. We have little like childhood videos on the beach trying to perform and look like them. That was a really big deal to me because these were women who were using their voices in really big ways. So they didn't mind just like singing and just, really belting out songs with choreography. So I took a big liking to that, which makes sense down the line of me actually being in girl groups throughout my life and now being like so in love with R&B music.
Yeah.
So I try to stay true to R&B music and, add a little hip hop here and there.
Yeah. So In Touch, was that similar to anybody else at the time, like musically? Because I'm thinking, I remember growing up and like Destiny's Child being from Houston.
Yes.
That was a big deal.
Oh my gosh, they were everything. We actually met them. When we were young and performing, we both participated in a competition in Houston called the Sammy Awards. And they actually won Junior Talent of the Year the year before we did. They were called Girls Time at that time. So the following year when we came in, people were like, oh, you guys have to meet Girls Time. You remind us of Girls Time. And we were like, who's that? Finally got to, meet them very briefly. And man, the parallels, we were very similar. We had the dad who put the group together. We really believed in a lot of, R&B and a lot of energy on stage as well.
Does your dad, does he sing as well?
He doesn't. My dad and my mom actually met in a band as kids. So he has that musical influence. He was a musician. My mom was a singer. And so he naturally had that love and saw that in us. He saw us dancing around in the living room and trying to mimic music videos. And he was like, what can we do with this?
I think they got it.
Right.
Sometimes I'll see like a YouTube video of a 3-year-old kid like picking up drumsticks, and it's like that's natural in him. You can't teach.
It's in him.
I've tried. I've had my 3-year-old, and I'm like, here you go, and he didn't have it. You know.
Want me to do this?
So man, when you have it, you have it, and it's really I guess fortunate when you have a parent or somebody else that's able to see like they're good at this. Let's push them towards it.
So glad at that, and then just pushing us past our limits as well. I've always been really grateful to my dad and my mom for doing that. Because it was some tough rehearsals. Yeah. He was firm with us, not on a Joe Jackson level, but he was firm with us and like, no, like that needs to be right. Let me get you right. So, so grateful.
So the self-titled EP, Crystal Tamar, came out August
16th.
16th. Where can somebody listen, stream, pick that up?
It's available on all digital platforms now. So we got, Apple Music, we got Spotify, we got Google Play, Tidal, everything. Every digital platform you can think of, it's available there.
Yeah, and that's a good thing that it's so available. I've heard mixed reviews from artists and labels and everything that what has that done with everything going digital, I guess, to artists?
Oh, my gosh. It's such a transition for everybody involved. I think we're at the point now where we get it. It's a great convenience, but there had to be a transition from like, wait, what are we doing? Wait. We were still half and half for a while. But now I can't lie. It makes things much easier to be able to share a link, and then like you have these smart links these days where all of them are listed in one place and people can preview it and or buy it. So I really appreciate that these days.
And I think buying it is the best option, I guess, for the artist, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we really appreciate people investing in the product. And that's why we try to go on and let people know what this recording process is all about so that they can realize, hey, man, we did this for you. We want good stuff for you to listen to, good stuff for you to vibe to and hear stories maybe even about your own life that you may connect with. So if you're willing to invest, we're willing to invest in you.
All right. Right now it is 10:23. This is KHEARadio.com, 99.5 FM. We're talking to Crystal Tamar about her self-titled EP. It just came out. You can go pick that up. Search for it everywhere that the music is available. You can download it, purchase it, stream it, share it.
Yes.
That's important. Sharing it out, like even the people watching, like share this stream out. What does that mean to you when you see somebody sharing and supporting you?
It blows my mind. Like even likes, even comments, it means the world because especially going out on a limb and putting out a project like this independently, I feel very vulnerable, and it's just like I'm putting people out there. I hope you like it. You're just kind of throwing it out there. So for people to respond, it's everything. And it helps me to be able to keep that confidence going and feel confident enough to move forward.
Yeah.
Lamarck was huge for that for me because they knew me when I was little and cultivating these gifts. So when I see somebody from my hometown actually say, yes, do it, and it just really empowers me and helps me move forward.
Also self-putting something out, it's not easy, and I'll say it can get expensive because if you want to put out something quality,
yes.
Has that been, what has that been like? Has it been like did you ever feel like it was a risk? Like, am I doing the right thing?
Right. It is an eye-opening experience because, some producers, for me, when I tried to like find producers and writers for the project, I wanted obviously the best, but I wanted people that I worked well with in the past. And with the label involved, you never knew how much something was going to cost. You didn't get to see that, So when you're going out there and you're like, so yeah, wondering if you can make a track. How much?
What's the rate?
Duck and hide. That was crazy. You had to put out a little bit more for some of the big names, but thank God it was worth our while. But that's why it's so important for artists to do their research and just get educated on this process. That way you can make those concessions beforehand, before you start the project, and feel confident moving forward whether you're going to say yes or no. Am I going to go for that?
Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
So you're out in Atlanta, working and touring and doing everything, recording. How did you end up in California?
Oh, man, such a transition. So once the group, we actually asked for a release from Atlantic Records because we weren't pleased with the project being moved along quick enough. So once we got that release, we transitioned from artist housing, and myself and Cole Rose, who's actually from Lamarck, we came back to Texas. Our other members stayed in Atlanta. And so it was obviously refreshing for the both of us to be able to get back, to kind of family and get our mind right and learn how to transition now as a group that's not signed. So shortly after then, my husband actually got a job in California. And we always knew.
He's from, you mentioned earlier, I think he's from originally.
He is. Okay. He's from Southern California.
Okay.
And so we always knew one day we'd probably end back up there because it's great for my industry as well as his. So, he got that offer and we were like, it's time. Yeah. We're doing this. So, we transitioned out to the Bay Area, and it's just been great. It's been great for me musically. It's been great for him in his career as well. And, we're really close to L.A. and all the things that we need to do, music-wise.
So I was talking to someone the other day about San Francisco, and the airport there trips me out. I've been there one time, and whenever you're landing, like the airport is over right by the water, and I'm just like looking out the window like, what is going on? If you've been to San Francisco,
Yes.
If it looks like you're about to land in the water, but then you hit the land right there, and it's just like, okay, we made it.
Yeah, that it's a little too close to that water there, but it's nice. It really welcomes you into the Bay. Yeah. And oh gosh, that city is just so awesome.
Are you a basketball fan?
A little bit. We are a Lakers household.
Okay.
But I'd be lying if I said I watched every single game, but just a little bit.
Okay, I didn't know if being in that area, with the Warriors and stuff, I can respect a Lakers fan, but
blasphemy to say any other NBA team in that house. But actually, oddly enough, where I lived, the championship parades would go right in front of the house.
That's cool.
So we had to go out and support and show love, and man, the Warriors are just awesome. Yeah. Really great to watch them rise the way they did.
Yeah. And they did a lot of it in-house, and I guess they did it the right way and brought in some pieces, but
right.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
I know.
So we're talking to Crystal Tamar about the brand new EP. We're talking about her journey from Lamarck, Texas, born and raised, and how you got to this point today. So you end up in California. Then you wanted to do some more like voiceover and some I guess talent acting, like what is that?
Oh man, voiceover was something that kind of snuck up on me because when I was in the group with T-Pain, he had an opportunity to do a show with the Cartoon Network, and it was called Freaknik. It was about a celebration that happens in Atlanta. It used to happen back in the day. And he asked us to actually guest appear just as voices on it.
That's a cartoon? It was animated?
It was a cartoon, animated cartoon. And it was so much fun. It was quick, it was profitable, and it was something that it just woke up in me. And I said, what's this about? I dabbled into it and talked to a friend of mine who actually is a voiceover artist. I sent him a demo of me and said, what do you think about me doing this? And he said, I think you got it.
Yeah.
I think you got to move forward in it. Shout out Mark Fisher. Thank you so much. And I thought for me it would be great because I have the recording background. So if I can do that simultaneously, that would handle all that crazy artist stuff of just trying to make sure there's continual income coming in. And man, God is good because it really took off. I did that, started doing it right before I left for California.
Yeah. Being comfortable in a studio, not getting overwhelmed, it's a lot. Like even you right now in this interview, being comfortable, you can tell.
Yeah.
And so like the voiceover stuff, it seems like it's like
it
just
helps.
makes sense, yeah.
It helps a ton with confidence. It was perfect for me because I am an introvert. And so it was nice to be able to just be behind a mic and not have to be, in public for a while. And you can transform into all these different personalities and be free because I can do that from the comfort of my home. So I thank God for that because it does help me when it comes to musical recordings and settings like this.
Yeah, but whenever you get up on stage, even if you, self-proclaimed introvert, did something come over you to make that switch to where I can dance, I can perform as a Texas cheerleader or a Prairie View or on tour?
Absolutely. Funny story is actually my dad, he always laughs now because he says, when you were a kid and you were in touch in the singing group, he said we would go do these performances and you would come back, you would shut the door, play Barbie dolls. You didn't want to see anybody. You would just like hermit crab, up into the room. And he said, you do the same thing now. I need to recharge. And actually learning that about myself through the years helped me so much because it's okay if that's your way of recharging. And I had to give myself that permission because if I do that, I'm that much better when it's time to turn on. So there are some times where you need to be sacrificial and say, okay, let me get out here a little more. Let me talk to people. And then there are times where you kind of self-preserve and you say, you know what, let me get what I need to be 100% mentally or else I'm not going to do good out there.
Yeah.
So I really needed to learn that lesson about myself. I feel way more balanced now.
Yeah. Finding that balance is tricky.
It's everything.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like the calm before the storm or the calm after the storm. It's like, okay, decompress.
Yes.
Yeah, and get it all back together.
Yes, get the jitters out.
So whenever you do voiceover stuff like cartoons, is there anything else that maybe, we can go and be like, I recognize that voice?
Oh, man, such a variety because you get so many different clients in a week's time.
Yeah.
But I've had the opportunity to do work with Geico, commercials with Geico, with Ford, with Malibu, with, recently Google. And it's not, sometimes it's animation and other times it's, you're just speaking in regular voice. I did a toy for Hasbro a while back. So it's nice because you get to switch up, what you do.
Have you or would you ever do like jingles, like singing little things?
I had a chance to do a jingle. I want to do more jingles. I did a lot of that in my beginning days. And that kind of helps you as a voiceover artist to be, kind of multi-talented in that sense. Because they're like, oh, you sing. Oh. So I like doing the musical things as well. Yeah.
There's one thing I notice whenever I'm watching TV. It seems like a lot of these actors, sometimes Randy will have a scene and they just like sing and it's like, okay, they act.
Right.
And they sing. Yeah, you almost have to be like the triple threat.
It helps you quite a bit. And it because there are a lot of voiceover artists in the world, but it definitely sets you apart.
Have you ever done any like acting?
Minimal. Growing up in Lamarck, I remember doing a lot of the plays. We did some really awesome plays here, but I've never felt the confidence enough to do that as an adult. I've been waiting on that calling because there have been some offers here and there.
Yeah.
And I just never felt it strong enough on my heart, just waiting on the Holy Spirit to say, okay, do this.
Yeah.
Hadn't felt it just yet. So I was like, let me just keep doing my voiceover thing and we'll see what that turns into.
Yeah. But I guess you mentioned at one point that you were going to major in theater.
Yes.
So there's something there.
Yeah. It came from, there was a really great theater teacher in Lamarck at that time. And what was his name? Ezekiel. And he set me up to do The Wiz. We did The Wiz, which was a musical. So that helped me partner acting with music. And they had scouts come out from Prairie View to watch. So they were like, we think you got something, which led me to think, oh, well, let me try it out.
Yeah.
You know, maybe this could be something.
Is that the one that's like the Wizard of Oz?
Yes.
The Wiz?
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of like the black version of the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And Michael Jackson and Diana Ross was in it. So it was just, it had all the funk and the soul, you know, soundtrack going with it.
What role were you in there?
I was Dorothy.
What? That's like the main one, right?
Oh, man. It was crazy. I was like, what am I doing? Do I know what I'm doing here? But so much fun. That and amongst a lot of other like plays here and there. And, you know, you got the Black History programs and you got Cinco de Mayo Day programs, and doing all of that just made me like, okay, maybe I am comfortable on stage. We'll see.
All right. You know, if there's anything that you could, still accomplish in your career, what would be that goal that you're looking to accomplish now?
Oh, my goodness. Learning more about myself is a great thing, because in the grand scheme of things, you know, I'm here to do what God put me on earth to do. And I realize a lot of ways that God works with me is he throws an opportunity out there and he's like, you want it? It's almost sudden, thinking about my whole story. My biggest accomplishment would be just fully embracing that, like without hesitation. That would be a big goal for me, because if I can do that, then I can trust whatever it is he throws on my plate, you know, and I realize that I can't always foresee what it is he has for me in the future. So it's just like, I need to be confident enough in him and trusting in him and what it is that he puts on my heart, so that I can do whatever else he throws at me.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see what's to come, you know.
Right. Hey, I agree, but it's not always easy, because I even think about myself, and my dad is out there talking to yours, which they know each other.
Oh,
so that's my dad.
Gosh.
Yeah. But
I love it.
I think about all the times where, you know, even a parent, you know, I think of like, okay, there's God, you know, Heavenly Father, and then, you know, your father on earth, he's like, hey, this is what you need to do. And I'm like,
yeah, you sure?
I don't know. Like, you know, this is good, do this. And, you know, it's always hard. Even if you know, like, they're probably right. Yeah. This is what I need to do.
Exactly.
It's always a jump.
Just trusting that he knows you better than you know yourself.
Yeah.
And he can foresee it.
Mm-hmm. So right now it's 10:36 a.m. This is KHEA Radio.com, 99.5 FM. We're talking to Crystal Tamar. If you're watching on Facebook, feel free to share this video out. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll get those asked and answered. Crystal, you're a native of Lamarck, you know, grew up in this area. There's a lot of talented kids that I see. I even see some that have been watching. I call them kids, but just because as I get older, I'm like, oh, these, you know, high school.
Yes.
You know, have you seen any of the talent that's here, whether that's vocal, acting, and even I saw Kenny Summers, which I met through your sister, Tracy. He is putting together like movies and films, and it's really cool to see the talent that's up and coming. Have you had an opportunity to, or have even any of them reach out to you for any reason?
I do talk to artists here and there from Lamarck, especially people that I grew up with as well. And it just really blows my mind. Even my niece, Brianna, who's crazy talented, I'm like, yes, there's still things happening. When I grew up in Lamarck, I feel like everybody was talented. I want to like tell the world when I'm out there and, you know, in LA and New York, I'm like, man, look, I got a homegirl from my hometown that could blow, you know, and I'm glad to see that has not changed with Lamarck. You know, as I meet my niece and her classmates and other people that are acting, that are singing, that are dancing, it is still going on here in Lamarck.
Yeah.
And which makes me want to connect that much more. And it's like, let's see what we can do together.
Right.
You know, let's put something together.
Yeah. What kind of advice would you give them if they have a desire to go into that your career?
Yeah. Not to sound cliche, but be yourself is everything. Because a lot of times, I know for me growing up in Lamarck, I kind of had blinders on to like what I needed to know to be a part of the industry. And so you feel like you need to conform to what you see out there. And actually the beauty of it is you are you. Nobody else can be you. I did an interview with a publication the other day, and we were cracking up because I was like, there's this Barney song that always comes to mind, and it's called You're Special, and it's like, you are special, you're the only one like you. There isn't another in the whole wide world who can do the things you do. And I'm like, that is so true. I'm like, That's going to be my message.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to be what nobody else is. What you are is uniquely you. And that's what the world needs. That's whatever industry you want to go into, that's what they need. So be yourself. And another very big thing is just be educated on what's out there. Things have changed in the music industry. You do not need a label like you used to need back in the day. Labels not doing artist development anymore. They want you to already be ready to go. They want you to bring the followers. They want you to do your own financing work. They want you to know that. So you don't actually need them. Do your own do your own research, get educated on business practices, get your own business manager, get your own lawyers, people on your team that you trust, and then go forth and do you. That's all you need.
Yeah. It's crazy because that has changed. They want the complete package, and I hadn't really thought until you said that.
Yes.
You have to have, and you can do that. It's just work.
Yeah.
Building a following, playing shows, putting music out.
It's easier than you think, and all you have to do is take it one step at a time. You do something and you fail, who cares? Pick yourself up and learn from that and just do better. You say, okay, that won't happen to me again. But Drake is a perfect example. The artist Drake, he became who he is before the labels. And all of a sudden the labels were like, come over here. And it's because he just did the groundwork. Don't be afraid to do the work. Don't be afraid to learn on the job. And as long as you're putting one foot in front of the other, you are progressing.
Yeah.
You are.
And he had, I guess, like an acting career. And then that shift, he created his own. I mean, maybe it's who he was the whole time. A lot of times I look at artists and I'm like, oh, is it a persona? I think it's a mixture of both.
I know, right?
But he did it. He did it all, had it ready to go. And then I'm sure he had his option of choices.
He sure did. A plethora of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, too, was it there all along, But I guess you got it because he's been long-lasting throughout it.
Okay, so here's a couple questions. Thank you for asking this. This is from Brian from Brian Keith. He wants to know if there's going to be another music video.
Yes. Man, we saw the response from the first two videos that we put out, and we're like, oh, we got to keep this going. Mm-hmm. We plan to go by what records the fans actually love and have responded to. And there's one in particular that people are asking for, a new visual for. So we absolutely plan on working on that ASAP.
Yeah.
So yeah, more visuals to come.
Cool. With an EP, there's a couple songs, several songs that you have to choose from. Do you have a favorite on there? And then does it line up with maybe the feedback people are saying like, oh, that's my favorite track on there?
It's so true. The one in particular is called Serenade. And that is, we hope to be the third single. That is my baby because it is all the R&B, the 90s R&B feel, the vibes. It has that, and it allows me to be able to sing like I want to sing, like big voice, belting, runs. Give me all the works. This is not a watered down R&B thing. This is like pleading and just singing about love and hoping that people, feel that when they hear it. That's the one fans have responded to, and that's the one, when I was in the studio, that's like, oh yeah,
this is it. Sometimes
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and here's another question. Now that the EP is out, what's next for you artistically?
Oh, my goodness. More music. We didn't do a lot of collaborations on this EP because I wanted to feel comfortable in my own skin and learning who I am, in the process. So in the future, we hope to put out more music. I would like to collaborate more with some other artists and start massaging that and learning myself in that regard as well. Writing more on that next project. And with this project in particular, we hope to start touring. Once we release all the singles, we want to tour and move around. I want to do a lot of stuff in Texas and get to know, the Texas community that much better, and as well as other states.
Cool. Would you tour with the band with some tracks or a little bit of both?
I really want... My preference is to always tour with the band, even if it's just a 3-piece. Bands bring things alive. Musicians are everything. It's sometimes a lost art. So, we hope to do a live band with backup vocals and backup singers. If not, then we might have a little DJ pop out there every once in a while. But, we want to keep the music live and real.
Okay. You mentioned collaborations in the future. If there is anybody, maybe even like a couple, like 1, 2, or 3, dream collaborations, anybody in the world, who would be, number one on that list?
Oh, who's number one? I don't know why this comes to mind first, but I'm a really big Busta Rhymes fan as it relates to hip hop. It would be really awesome to get him on a track. On a more soulful jazz vibe, I'm a really big fan of PJ Morton. He's the son of Bishop Paul Morton, and he released an R&B project coming out with a gospel one in the beginning of the year. I feel like we have some of the same roots because he's from New Orleans. I would really love to collaborate with PJ Morton. That would be like gold for me. And maybe even a gospel record in the future with my hero Yolanda Adams. You know, that would be just really great. I have such a long list of people I'd love to work with.
She can sing, man. She came here to Abundant Life a year and a half ago or so, and she did some songs, and it's funny, but they were actually filming a pilot for a cooking show. No joke. This is real. It was her and a gentleman named Tim Story, who's out in L.A. They were doing a pilot for a cooking show where they go to different places, and they were doing cooking competitions at churches.
What?
So they did it here, and they shot a pilot. It was pretty fun. But she could sing like.
Oh.
Sometimes people, it's just different. It's like, okay.
I
Wow.
really credit her for like making me come out of my shell.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when I started singing, gospel music in particular. And first time I ever sung it at church, it was "The Battle is the Lord's." And still to this day, I'm asked to sing that song at every funeral, everything possible. And I really credit her for just helping me feel comfortable in that and not being afraid to just sing and scream like she does.
Yeah. So
she's great.
Thus far in your music career, what would you say has been your biggest accomplishment, or what you're the most proud of?
This transition of just having the confidence enough to do a solo project is something I'm really proud of. The transition of going into Sophia Fresh, into that big industry as quick as I did. It's supposed to be a 3-month project, ended up turning into 3 years. And so far as like living away from home and just, working on the album, in hindsight, I look back and I'm really, really proud of how I hung in there, at some of those difficult times. And I thank God that I had, group members to lean on at times to kind of work through some of those difficulties. Just having the courage enough to do that, go into that realm. And then from that, resting, resetting, and having the courage to do my solo thing is just... God is good. I'm just like, thank you for the strength to be able to do that, because never in a million years, if you could have told me the full story, what it would have taken to get where I am today, I wouldn't have thought I had the strength to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I would not have. And I don't, quite frankly. It all comes from God. So that just lets me know that, I can continue to do this, for as long as he allows me to.
Do you ever get the itch to go back onto the big stage as far as like dancing, like cheerleading, like even being, you mentioned I thought I was going to be a Lakers girl.
Right.
Like why not? Would you ever try that?
I can't see myself ever dancing on a team again, but one really cool opportunity I've had is to be able to go back to the Texans, and every once in a while I'll, help prep the girls for auditions. They'll call me in to teach some classes, and got to choreograph the halftime show for Belle Biv DeVoe just
That's
a few
cool.
years ago. Thank God for my coach, Alto Gary. Hey, Alto, that called me back to do that. I kind of get that out of my system in that way.
Yeah.
So the need to be on the field is now I can pass that along to somebody
Pass the torch.
Mm-hmm. And
Pass
feel
the
the
baton.
energy still in the stadium. It's crazy.
I can't imagine.
70,000 people.
Yeah. Anytime that I've been to a game, the cell phone service is terrible. So that always, I'm like,
Yeah.
that's how I know. I'm like, man, there's so many people here. There's nothing going
I got
on.
nothing.
But right now it's 10:48. This is KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. We have about 10 minutes left. We're talking to Crystal Tamar. The brand new EP is out now. Search Crystal Tamar. You can download it. You can purchase it. Is there any like merchandise or T-shirts or anything in the works? Any plans that people can get to support you?
We're working on tons of merchandise to be able to release to the public. And gosh, I think the sky's the limit because I'm a really creative being as it relates to things like that. And so we want to put out a couple other things as well that we'll reveal much later on.
Sometimes I'll see random, like people are like, oh, I got a cell phone holder. It's like, oh, that's cool.
I went to SoundCloud's office a few weeks ago and they gave me a little SoundCloud thing. And I'm like, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
I love merchandise.
SoundCloud has I wouldn't say they changed the game, but they embraced it.
Yeah.
As far as it became a term, like, oh, you're a SoundCloud rapper or a SoundCloud artist. They've kind of given a platform to a lot of people.
Yes, they have.
What was that experience like, communicating with them at their office and with the team?
Oh, my goodness. I realized the possibilities and things I actually hadn't taken advantage of just yet. I sat down with one of their representatives who was just telling me, you can do this and that too, right? And I'm like, wow, I can do like contests through here. And it's just all ways of kind of driving your fans through the site. And I just love with SoundCloud, like you could even preview the whole EP there before purchasing it. It has these perfect snippets already available to you. So like if you haven't and you are artists out there, like dabble around on your site a little bit because it's so much you can do with SoundCloud that you probably have no idea.
Yeah.
No idea.
And I'm sure they're working on new things, to come out. I was actually on there last night looking at, man, and if you've seen this, then you know, but Toby Mac, he's a Christian artist, since the 80s, but his son passed away, I think like Tuesday or Wednesday morning. He's 21 years old, and he was an artist. He was a musician. He just had his first concert, hip-hop. He was very talented, and, so I just in my personal prayer, and we had shared that out, but that's terrible. I can't imagine losing a child at a young age. So, but he was on SoundCloud and had a bunch of music up there.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, and so his legacy lives on. Mm-hmm. I love that.
That is one thing. That's true. Whenever you are creating this brand new music, I mean, it's not going to go away. It's there forever. Does that make you, pretty careful with what you put out?
Absolutely. That is like, man, that was such a big part of the creative process of creating the album. Is I went back and forth many times, tweaking words here and there, or tweaking titles here and there, trying to get feedback from others in the room with my vocal producer, with my husband, with the engineer. Wait, how does this come across? Does that sound like this? There's a song on the album called Gimme That, and it's referencing love to like a drug, that it's like love is addictive. And I'm like, this could very easily be tweaked, if a kid was hearing this, into drugs. And that a real story. We actually went back and forth in the studio about whether or not it said that. So we tweaked some words here and there and wanted to make sure that the message was love.
Yes.
Like real love is like, it can be like a drug because it's an addictive thing. When I met my husband, I realized that connection immediately. And I was just like, wow, I'm almost drawn to you. So I wanted to get that message across. So it's important, to watch content as well.
Yeah, to make sure that it's clear, that it's not taken the wrong way.
Exactly.
Because now we live in a society that operates on memes.
Yes.
And it's easy to get known. I saw a song. They're actually from Houston. It's a band, and they had a song on TikTok, which is a new social media platform. But one of their songs went to #1 like overnight because it became a TikTok meme. And so they were using the track, which is kind of cool, I'm sure, but unless you don't want to be known for that kind of thing.
Right. I get, sometimes you can use it to your advantage, technology and the way things take off. But man, branding is everything, because you can put one thing out there with the intention of it being viewed in a certain way, and people could take it a totally different way. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. So do the best you can and see what happens.
Yeah. So what's the plan? Like, this music is out now. I'm sure you're going to keep working on the next one. Keep, the tour and everything else. But can you kind of let us know one more time, like what's the journey? Like, what are you going to do in the next 5 years? What do you hope to do?
Oh man, next 5 years. So tour this album, organically see where it takes us, what opportunities come about, whether that's, placements in television shows and in movies and in soundtracks. That's something we really want to do. We don't want to rush that process as much. I realize that with albums, sometimes people are always ready to hustle and move on to the next. It's definitely in the plans, but we want to leave room for things to be organic. After that, then we'll revisit, okay, what kind of music now? Like what do we want the feel to be like for the next project? So yeah, a little bit of that, a little bit of going with the flow and seeing where things take us. And at the same time, positioning ourselves to do an even better next project.
All right. So this is a question from Brittany, and I'm going to preface it. There's always a lot of work that can be done. The new record, hustling this one, selling merch, producing everything. And this is her question. What do you like to do in your free time whenever you are not on the grind and doing that, or even trying to just relax?
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so my free time, I do like to camp. I am a Texas girl.
That's awesome.
So I like to camp, and that's always a good way to decompress as well. And again, I'm kind of introverted, so I just sometimes, a lot of times after a really hard recording session, I will just get home underneath the blankets. My husband and I got this big like pit couch thing. I don't know if you guys ever heard of a pit couch, but it's just picture like an oversized ottoman, and just literally put the blanket over my head and just zone out, like doing absolutely nothing. So if I'm not doing that, I'm camping. I'm probably doing some, odd water activity that my husband has thrown me into. And yeah, just totally, disappearing and just doing me, doing things that kind of allow me to be able to reflect on what's happening around me.
Speaking of camping, I camped a lot as a kid.
Did you?
I did, like a lot. My parents, we'd do it all the time, right? And as I've gotten older, I haven't had the opportunity. And I was talking to a friend, this is actually on the radio a couple years ago when we first started, about camping, and I was describing what I would like to do, and they said, you don't like to camp, you like to glamp. Have you heard of glamping?
Ah, yes.
And what kind of camping are you more the glam? Like, I want the camper out there, I got to have my power, or you want to get like, I'm doing the tent and building the fire?
I'm doing the tent and building the fire.
So real camping.
Yeah, real primitive camping. There's a little bit of glamping in regards to it's gonna be a blow up mattress in that tent.
Yeah.
And we gonna have steaks. Like we ain't doing no hot dogs. Moving to California, they have their own idea of like what a barbecue is and stuff like that. Oh, we're gonna do hot dogs and grilled veggies. No, we're gonna have that steak. We're gonna have that baked beans, some potato salad. So that's my version of making it.
Okay.
Making it glamping.
All right. Is there any place like in Lamarck or even in this area, whenever you come back, you're like, I got to stop there to get this?
Oh my gosh. So I need a Tex-Mex fix, and that is Gringos. I need a barbecue fix for sure. That's probably like some Papa's or some Good Company barbecue.
Yeah.
And there's one more. There's this one we would say, Tex-Mex, barbecue. Gosh.
Do they got good fried food out there? Like even there's a lot of, I don't know if they do or not. There's some good soul food places that are here, but they haven't.
Yeah.
They're like relatively new in the scheme of things. Like they wouldn't have been here. Yeah, like in Lamarck.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to put me on to some stuff.
Yeah, I will. There's one actually across from the high school, and we did a feature on them, but they'll take care of you. I'm trying to remember if they're open on Mondays.
Oh my goodness!
But we'll have to send you over there. There's a couple.
Please.
There's Simps, which is in Galveston. Yes. And now they opened up one in Lamarck. And
those
then
pork chops.
Man, someone else helped me out. The pork chops right across from the high school. They were voted like one of the top 50 places in Texas by Yelp to eat overall, like all restaurants.
Oh.
I keep wanting to say Soul to Soul, but Soul to Soul's in Galveston, and that's delicious as well. But man.
That'd be so good. Soul food, yes.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to share while you're here?
I'm just really excited to be here. Really appreciate all of the support from Galveston County, from KHEA. You guys are just awesome. I love the light that you're shedding on this community. Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for all of the support on social media and off social media. And
I got the answer from Tink Jackson, Mama Francis. Of course, that Mama
that's it.
Yes.
I've heard of that.
Yes, you need to go to Mama Francis.
Oh, I got to go there.
Whenever you're in town.
After.
Whenever you're in town, yes. Tell them we said hello.
Absolutely.
It's delicious. So, all right. Hey, right now it's 10:57. Be blessed. We're going to mix it up. We're taking a quick break, but we're going to keep coming back. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's KHEA Radio, 99.5 FM. Do you know? Hey, y'all hang in there. We're going to keep it going here in a bit, and we're going to have some fun still, so all right. Hey, thank you for coming in. Where do you want to take a photo?
Smooth operation.
Okay. Try to do it smooth. You can come over here so we can get the cool stuff. Good morning, Mr. Alan Hutchins. He's with A&A Machine and Fabrication. They've been a business for like ever in Lamarck.
You guys are naturals.
Yes.
That was.
Oh my gosh, you're like a natural.
That was smooth. That was an hour nonstop. Most people get commercial breaks and let's go into this music, but you're like nonstop.
That's why. So with the Astros and the World Series going on, and I've gotten some hate for this, but a lot of people were talking bad about Joe Buck, the announcer, and I was like, man, I don't think they realize it's not easy to talk for hours. But for him, I was like, man, I sympathize with him because you got to talk about something. Yeah. So he's talking about stats that people don't like, and they're like, well, he's hating against the Astros. Like, what else are you gonna say? Cut him some slack.
The guy needs fillers.
Yeah. So we'll just take it over here, or we can do it over here, or where?
Oh. No, you guys. I know what
We'll do it over here.
Over here. It looks cool in front of the board.
Yeah.
Great. No, you're natural, and even trying to think while I'm answering a question, I don't know how you do that.
All right. There's a weird little glare. That's better. I'll try to get some of the equipment. All right, 1, 2. All right, let's get one more. 1, 2. Fantastic. All right.
Cool.
Yay, thanks,
well, thank you for coming in, and let me know.
It was a pleasure.
If there's anything else that we can ever do.
Same here.
For sure.
Same here.
All right.
You want me to go get Justin?
Yeah, grab Justin. And then could you... All right. So, hey, let me know if you're watching. Where are you watching from? It's Crystal Tamar. Make sure that you go download the EP. Purchase that thing. That's the best thing that you can do 100% to support an artist is purchase their music, buy their merch, and share it out. That's the other thing, and you guys know this because I always ask y'all to do this with KHEA. There's things that obviously you can always like, oh, I'll go download the stream or I'll stream the stuff, but sharing it out is one of the best things that you can do because you have an influence that you have, your circle. And whenever you say, hey, I like Crystal Tamar, hey, I like Justin Gambino, hey, I like KHEA, that's a big deal. It kind of helps you co-sign to the people in your life that this is something that they need to know about. So if you're watching, feel free to share this stream out. Let me know what you got going on this weekend. Let me know if it's still raining because it was pouring down this morning, and I'm going to check my weather app. Yeah, it says it's 54 degrees. 54 degrees! Ethan's over there excited about it. And this is fall, Ethan. Ethan, can you come and stand in front of this camera so people can... Yeah, it's on this shot right here. This is fall, Ethan, as he is modeling his... Oh, in here. Yeah, let Justin in over there. But that's fall, Ethan. He's obviously with the beanie. And is that a Levi's jacket or where's that from, Gap?
I have no idea where I got this. It was a Christmas gift.
With the wool? Yeah, over here is good. Mr. Justin Gambino in the house.
Yo, man.
Dude, what's up?
Oh, man.
You've been busy.
Just about everything.
Dude, you've been going nuts, like traveling literally all over the world.
Yes, all over the world. The UK, Mexico, about 40 states in the US, but now I'm home, bro.
Yeah,
I'm home and prepping for this big homecoming show.
It's the second, right?
It's the second. Yeah, it's a week today, week away from today.
And then I also saw some news that not only is it a show, this is an album that's being recorded, like a live recording.
This is going to be a live album recording.
So if I sing loud enough and I scream, I may make it on there.
Oh, yeah. I'll leave it on there.
Justin.
Get
like
towards
on the
front. Be like, we love you.
That's how you guarantee that it's going to be on there.
Yeah.
Did y'all leave something in there? Oh, hey, Ethan, could you grab that? This is Crystal Tamar, who was just in studio with us. She's from Lamar, grew up in this area, and she lives in California now.
I was just talking to
Tracy, yeah. Her sister, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. She's got an album release tonight.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We were just talking about that out there. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So many good things happening.
It's a good time to release an album. I'll say that.
It is.
And record one.
That too. Yeah, so my new EP is available for pre-order now, which doesn't actually go live until January 10th, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone that's come to the homecoming show, they get it. Like the hard copy CDs are in. Like everybody
nice.
gets, not only is it a live album recording, but you get a copy of the CD as well once you go into the door. So
very cool.
Yeah.
So you went and played some shows in Mexico. And
I was down in Oaxaca, bro. And
I saw the
last time I saw you
yeah.
was whenever we were talking about Oaxaca cheese.
That's what I thought of. Yeah.
And Oaxaca tacos. Okay, so bro, I gotta tell you, and I have to show you some videos on my phone.
Yeah.
Later. But right after my show, this girl walked up to me, and she was like, "Hey, I know a place where we can get the best tacos in Oaxaca. It's my uncle's place." She's like, the best, like hands down the best. I'm not just saying it because it's my uncle's place, but I kind of am, you know. And she was
Yeah.
like, the best tacos.
And this
in
is in
Oaxaca.
Mexico when you were in Mexico. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And the sun has gone down. It's late, you know. And like the missionaries that I was with, they're like, well, we'll all go together as a group. I'm like, absolutely. I'm not going alone. You know, like,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
it was literally, we like parallel parked on this little side street, right? And then we get out, walk across the street, and his little flat top grill is like on the side of the street, bro. And he's
What?
just like,
Legit?
Yeah, it's legit. And I'll get videos of him making my tacos and all that stuff. And it was good, man. Out of our group, I was the only one that didn't get sick.
What?
Yeah, it was crazy, bro. Like, I don't know, like the next day I was flying out and the missionaries were like, we don't feel too good after last
Really?
night. And I was like, I feel great.
You know what it is, right?
What?
You're used to life on the road. I feel like you're used to life on the road, you know, being in the military,
Yeah.
traveling all over the world, and you're
Yeah.
just like, it's just another day. It's like, your body's like, I'm good. This is
Yeah.
delicious. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I got like, I don't know, concrete walls of
Yeah.
stomach. It's like just breaks everything down.
They always say not to drink the water.
I made sure that I did not drink the water.
Yeah.
Even whenever I was like taking a shower.
Topo Chico. Maybe just like showered in Topo Chico
Bro.
and drink the Topo Chico.
Okay, so Topo is like a I guess partnership sponsor for the homecoming show.
I saw that.
Did
That's
you see
amazing.
that?
Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
So I texted a friend the other day, because Topo contacted me. They're like, hey, you know, we're ready to meet up with you, or for you to get the product that we're gonna donate to the show.
Yeah.
If you could meet us at our facility, here's the passcode to the facility. And I texted a friend. I was like, bro, you should be very jealous right now. And he was like, why is that? It's Whitley Casey.
Yeah.
I text Whitley because we drink Topo on the road all the time.
Yeah.
I was like, what I'm about to tell you is going to make you really mad and jealous. And he was like, why is that? I said, because I got the location and passcode to Topo's storage facility. And he was like, shut up.
Yeah. Is
But,
it in Houston somewhere? Where is their facility?
I can't say.
And what's the passcode?
It is right? It is Houston. It is
Okay.
Houston.
All right, that narrows it down. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Houston
Houston's
area.
like the size of Connecticut, right? It's like,
Oh
yeah,
man.
it's just a drive across town. That's all.
Yeah, just on the other Houston on this side, that
On the other side of Connecticut.
Hey, let's go on the FM real quick. Here we go. Good morning. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. Right now, it is 10:07 on a Friday morning. What beautiful weather. We got Justin Gambino here in studio. Justin, how was your drive in here? What is the weather like outside? I need an update.
Windy and wet.
My wife texted me this morning after I had been in the building for like an hour. She's like, it's winter. I was like,
Yeah.
is it
Well,
winter? Is that accurate?
I don't know about that.
It's Texas winter.
Do you think?
54
'Cause-
degrees and rain. Yeah.
Because I have friends up in the panhandle of Texas right now.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
That's different.
I saw friends posting pictures of like, you know, it had to have been at least a foot of snow, and it was in the 20s.
We'll call that East New Mexico.
There you go.
Panhandle, they're over there.
Yeah, that's fair. They're basically like in between New Mexico. I mean, if you think about it, they're right in between New Mexico, Oklahoma, and right below Colorado.
Yeah. They're getting that Colorado wind and snow. We just kind of like, flurried over.
Yeah,
That's what
Yeah.
it is.
no, I think the rest of this week, I think the cold front's in now,
Mm-hmm.
and then all the rest of the week, even all next week, is supposed to be like,
Chilly.
well, chilly, but like sunny skies.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's what I need. I don't like the rain. It always blows in with the cold weather.
yeah.
And you've not always. I'm just thinking about like before I worked in radio. I was like a technician, so like outside, and I know you with your military background and everything else that
Yeah.
you've done. Man, I always feel bad like on days like this, and I'm thankful, but it's just like I feel the mail people just like in the rain, like all that
All the
stuff.
time.
They work hard, man.
FedEx, UPS, they're working hard.
Driving on the roads and it's nasty. And then
Yeah.
I also feel bad when there's people like, it's not that cold. I'm like, well, you're not outside in it. Be thankful.
Yeah.
Be thankful. But
It's easy to be inside and be like, oh, it's not all that
it's
bad.
not that. It's only 50 degrees in rain. Like, come on.
And
I'm
windy.
complaining. Yeah.
The wind chill is what gets you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
So the homecoming show, it's going to be in Lake Jackson. Can you let me know like what time it is? How can somebody find out information and get tickets?
Yeah, so JustinGambino.com has all the info. It's at 7 p.m. Doors open at 6. And I have some really fun things that we're doing at this show.
Mm-hmm.
So not only does everybody that comes to the door get a copy of the new EP, we're doing a live album recording. So doors open at 6. The first 100 people through the door, this is something that I recently announced. The first 100 people through the door get a copy of an EP that is not mine. Some friends that I met whenever I was touring over in the UK, they're a band called Our Atlantic Roots.
Cool.
And I fell in love with them. They hosted me whenever I was there. They made sure I wasn't homeless whenever I was over in the UK.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I want to get you guys, your music is awesome. Your love for Jesus is awesome. I want to help you guys out. So how about we gift the first 100 people coming through the door at the homecoming show?
That's awesome.
A copy of your EP. It's an actual CD that people are going to get. So we're going to do that. I got 2 local worship artists, worship leaders that are going to do a pre-show. So from 6:30 to 7 while people are getting their seats and all that stuff, 2 local worship artists are going to be hitting the stage and doing some songs. And then my friend Whitley Casey, you guys know Whitley, he's going to be kicking off at 7. And then I got a full band show that we're going to, like I said, we're going to do a live album recording.
Wow.
And it's going to be a night to remember, man. It's awesome. And, and you mentioned that I got a military background, and we're actually giving back to military moms and wives of Brazoria County, which is a nonprofit organization in my hometown that I have actually been on the receiving end of a care package whenever I was overseas, away from home.
What kind of stuff did they send?
Bro, they sent me beef jerky, bubble gum, sunflower seeds. They sent me cards from kids, kids that would fill out cards and notes and thank you for your service and draw pictures and stuff like that. Just things that made you feel remembered and loved. And I'm very thankful that during that time I had family. I had family that was waiting for me to come home, But there's a lot of military men and women that they leave and they might not have a mom and dad back home waiting for them, or they might not have family. They might just be coming home to no one, And so I think it's really important that we don't forget them this holiday season because, it's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, I think they need to be remembered, especially being overseas in a war zone. So, yeah, we're giving back to military moms and wives of Brazoria County.
That's awesome.
Dude, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, getting that care package. I mean, you hear it and it's oh, well, maybe that doesn't mean, but it makes all the difference. Like you said, being remembered.
Yeah.
Feeling the love.
Yeah. Well, for me, during that time, I was lost. I mean, I was hopeless, lost. I was far from God. And that was a time whenever I really needed to feel Jesus more than any time. Because I just turned 21. I was away from home and feeling pretty hopeless and, wondering, all right, why am I here, Lord? And that was around the time whenever people were, the guys in my unit, they were like, why aren't you pursuing music like you're supposed to?
Yeah, because you had a guitar there, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually, a door opened up for me to lead worship while I was in Iraq. And so to see, to look back now and see how much God was pursuing me and pursuing my heart was, it's pretty overwhelming to think about it now, to look back.
What are the places that you've played? Because even now you're well, yeah, I led in Iraq, Mexico. You just got back from the UK, all over the United States.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere else that you've performed that is just, I don't know, standing up I can't believe I'm doing this here? That God just opened the door and it's I couldn't do this by myself. This is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, this year there was a couple places. The UK was one.
You did. I didn't even know they had a creation over there, but you went and played it.
Yeah. So it was Creation Fest UK. And that was amazing, man, to be over there with Pat Barrett and Lucy Grimble and so just some very well-known worship artists. And, oh, man, it was just amazing. What was really cool was my first day there, I just got off the plane, and one of my contacts at the festival, she texted me, and she was like, hey, a local artist just texted me wondering if any of our artists for the festival is available to open for them at a little pub over on the coastline. And I was like, man, that sounds amazing. Right
Sure.
now. Like,
yeah.
go to this little pub, fish and chips, do some songs right on the coast. I mean, and their coastline, bro, is amazing. It's beautiful. I mean, you look at it, it just takes your breath away.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
Wow.
Just takes your breath away. And so the first time I was there, I was just taking it all in. And here I am on the coastline of the UK, like the Atlantic and the Celtic Sea, and it's like, can't get any better than this. And I couldn't have planned this any better than God did, you know?
Wow.
And then down in Mexico, what was really cool, I was kind of thinking, all right, who's going to come to my show in Mexico, right? And I go to my Facebook page every once in a while and like look at the insights of like how many people like my page from where.
Yeah.
All right, so I think there's like 118 people that like my page from Mexico. And there was about 100 people that showed up at my show in Oaxaca.
Awesome.
And I even got some messages from people in Mexico City, like DMs on Instagram. They're like, oh, man, we're trying to make it from Mexico City. I was like, that's like a 6-hour drive. They're like, yeah, we're trying to make it. And I was like, wow. So about 100 people came to my show. And then I was thinking, okay, this is just crazy, right? Like, some of these people can't really know who I am. This one girl walked up to me. She was like, whenever I heard that you were coming, I was just blown away. I like know this song and this song. And I was like, what? And she brought her ukulele. And I was like, you want to play that song that you know with me? And she was like,
what?
Really?
That's cool.
We're doing Your Hands and Feet together. She's playing the ukulele and singing back up. And I got some YouTube videos on it, but it was just really special, man, just to think I couldn't have planned this any better than God did, you know?
When you tour, it's usually by yourself, right?
Depends on where I'm at.
Yeah.
Whenever I was up in the Northeast, I was actually touring around with 2 other local artists up in the Northeast. I had my drummer with me. Sometimes I have a drummer and a cellist with me. So it just depends on where I'm at. Yes, there are times, and probably like 70 to 80% of the time, like I'm by myself driving around, but then I'll meet up. My drummer, I'll meet up. So like whenever I was out west doing a festival out there, I met up with a drummer and a cellist local to that area, to where we would kind of rehearse before the show, and then we would hit the stage and go at it. So like I have about 5 or 6 cellists and a few drummers I can call on and be like,
that's cool.
All right, hey, I'm going to be in this area at this time.
You got like a cellist phone book?
I literally do.
I'm in the UK. I got my UK
Yeah,
cello.
dude. Whenever I went to the UK, the festival was like, hey, we've seen videos of you playing with a cellist. Like, how cool would it be to have a cello on stage? Like, I don't know anyone in the UK, and they're like, well, are you cool with us finding someone for you? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And so they found this girl. I think she had to drive like a few hours, but she showed up, and she was like, I've been listening to your songs, and I think I'm pretty prepared. And I was like, okay, well, let's just go over some songs real quick. She's like, okay. She started playing that cello, and I was like, oh, we don't have to rehearse. Like,
you got it, yeah.
You got it. Like,
that's cool.
It's good. And so we just hit the stage, and I was like, just let the Spirit lead you. You just do. I'm not gonna try to control, or micromanage your creativity. Like, you just do you. Whatever pours out of you, I trust you. And bro, she was playing for like 30-something years, and so playing since she was a little kid. And it was just phenomenal, bro. And those are the kind of things that like I couldn't have planned that. That was all divine appointment. That was all just planning on the Holy Spirit's end, and that's what makes tour life kind of nerve-wracking, but exciting at the same time, because you don't know what's going to happen. And
even sometimes to where you're going to sleep.
Kurt just asked me earlier. He was like, "All right, so how many nights have you stayed in the hotel this year?" And I was like, "Maybe 4." And he was like, "Okay, maybe I should rephrase my question. Like, how many nights have you spent away from home this year?" I said, "About 200 nights." And he was like, "Holy cow!" And he's like, "But only 4 of those are in a hotel." I'm like, "Yeah." I said, because I release my tour dates or whatever. There's people that are like family on the road or friends, and they're like, "Hey, we see you're going to be in our area. Do you have a place to stay yet?" "No, I don't." "You can stay with us." And I see God just like providing every step of the way. Like, even my friends in the UK, they're like, hey, we live like 10 minutes from the airport we're going to be flying out of. Like, you want to stay with us for a few nights? I'm like, please. That'd be awesome. You know,
we have some people that tune in from the UK now. Next time that you're over there, we'll have to shout it out. There's a gentleman that comes in regularly talking about, well, he's from Ireland and has some, now we have people that tune in. It's crazy how social media
that's awesome.
can kind of do that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's nuts.
That's awesome. The first family I stayed with over there, the husband was Irish and the wife was Scottish. So, you know, staying with them, I would get the Irish accent, the Scottish accent. I'd go out on town and hear the English accent. So I got a little bit both worlds. It was pretty cool.
What kind of food was over there that kind of, I don't know, because, well, one of the UK guys that tunes in was like, there's some kind of candy bar. And I was like, I've never heard of this in my life. And so he shared a picture and told me what it was. Was there anything that you had the opportunity to try while you were over there that we need over here?
So there's something called Cornish pasties.
Okay. Sounds made up, Justin. I'm going to be honest with you.
I know. Okay, so like I was doing a festival in California, and the people next to me at my merch table, they were like, one of the girls, it was like a YWAM, I think it was YWAM, Reno or something like that, somewhere or Chico, California, and she was like, I'm from Cornwall. You're going to be in Cornwall, and I was like, yeah. She was like, you have to get a Cornish pasty, and I thought that she was just like pulling my arm or something like that. I was like, what is that? And she even told me like a little bit, I might have some of this wrong. She even told me like where the Cornish pasties came from. So like the miners back in the day, whenever they would have lunch, their wives or their loved ones would make them these, they call them Cornish pasties because like they're Cornish people from Cornwall. So Cornwall is like kind of like I guess like a county or a state in the UK. And so Cornwall, the Cornish pasties, it's almost like a it's almost like a big hot pocket,
with pork in it. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's got like vegetables and all this stuff, and it's got meat in it, and so anyways, so it's like this big thing that like so the breading is what basically the miners would hold, and so they'd basically hold this, and their dirty hands would get like the outside of it like dirty, and then they would just like eat the inside. Ah,
okay.
And then throw away the breading and all that stuff because
it's like, dirty. Yeah.
Yeah, but like now, like I mean, you can go basically anywhere if you're like southwest the UK and get a Cornish pasty.
Ethan, can you do me a favor and Google on your phone Cornish Okay, he's already on it.
He's already on it.
It sounds like a kolache, but it has like a harder. You said like a hot pocket outside.
Yeah. I mean, but it's almost like, it almost looks like it's like half of it almost looks like a pizza.
Yeah.
Like folded.
Calzone kind of.
Like a calzone kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you just eat it, bro. And so like this couple was like we're going to get you a Cornish pasty from the best place to get the pasties. Because they were like, is there anything you want to try while you're here? And I was like, well, I heard something about Cornish pasties. They're like, okay, yeah, we got to.
Okay, that looks a lot like a calzone, but like on the inside, it's just meat?
No, there's meat, there's vegetables, there's...
okay.
I mean, it's got a little bit of everything. I think the traditional Cornish pasty...
I'd eat that.
Yeah. I think the traditional Cornish pasty has like the entree inside, and then once you get to the other side of it, it's like the dessert side of it.
Oh, wow.
So it's like one full...
meal in the whole thing.
Yeah, in the whole thing.
You'd have to mark it like start and finish.
Yeah, start and finish, yeah.
And then like I would, the kids would be like, I'm eating my dessert first. My
right, turn that thing around.
Yeah.
No, and so that was cool. They were like, you want to do that? I was like, yeah. They're like, well, we're going to take you to this one city, and we're going to go get the pasties, and then we're going to go sit on the beach and enjoy it. But they were like, but you have to, protect the pasty while you're trying to eat it because the seagulls will come down.
No joke.
You'll see kids running with their pasties in their hand, and the seagulls are like dive bombing.
Yeah. They know what it is. They're like, that's what I want.
Yeah, I want that pasty.
Give me that pasty.
Yeah.
All right. So right now it's 11:23. We're talking to Justin Gambino, and he has, a lot of touring this year already accomplished. But you have an event coming up soon. Can you share, one more time when it is, how somebody can find out information and attend?
Yeah. So it's the big homecoming show, my big hometown show after this 200-day tour. Just came off the Hope is Greater Than tour. And it's been a year and a half since I have performed in my hometown, so I'm really excited about it. all the details are at JustinGambino.com. It is next Saturday, November 2nd. Starts at 7 p.m. Doors open at 6. And when you come through the door, you get a copy of my new EP that doesn't release until January.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be a live album recorded show.
How many seats are there?
600.
That thing will sell out. I'm just seeing you, like, if you play in Mexico, you're like, I don't know. Man, I can't even imagine a year and a half that you haven't played in the hometown.
Yeah. So tickets, VIP passes, all that is available at JustinGambino.com, and along with all the information. And we're serving free Topo Chico because Topo Chico is a partner for this event. They sponsored it. So by donating a bunch of Topo.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is cool.
I'm really excited.
Hey, we talked about you playing with, your band and then also playing solo. Is there something that you prefer, or is it just a matter of logistics and, where you're playing and what's going on?
Yeah, it depends on where I'm at. Matter of logistics. So I'm really excited about this show because the 5-piece band that I've put together for this homecoming show are some of my tour bandmates. So my drummer that's from Philadelphia, he's coming in from Philly to play this hometown show. My cellist and my bass player, same guy, he's coming in from Ohio. And then my lead guitarist is coming from San Antonio. A local guy that's a good friend of mine and a worship leader in Angleton, he's playing keys. And so it's like a band of brothers.
It's a national band.
It's a national band,
Yeah.
And so it's only going to happen one night, but I'm really excited. So, yeah, it's a matter of logistics. But for this show, I wanted to be like, no, I want to bring in some of my favorite tour bandmates, and I want to make this show something that no one's ever going to forget.
I wonder if the UK cellist is kind of salty. Like, he didn't fly me in from the UK to be on this record. Okay.
No, I mean, some of these people, like, I've like not only felt like a musical connection with, but like it's like more of like a brotherhood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, man, and the guy that's playing cello and bass, I did one show with him, but whenever we met, I was like, bro, you and I are gonna be best friends for life. I'm telling you right now, like, this is pretty cool. And so he's coming in, and I'm just excited, man. I'm so stoked because I've never done anything this big before. Especially from a ministry standpoint. The whole idea of the tour is hope is greater than tour. And some people ask me, like, what does that mean? I said, well, what do you need hope for in your life right now? Like, what are you going through that you need hope for? Because I think as believers we tend to use the word hope a little too loosely. I think it's more of like a wishful thinking, whenever really that the hope that we have in Jesus is like an anchor to the soul, like it says in Hebrews. And so that's the whole message of this night, that if you need hope, you'll find it at this show.
Wow.
Not only at this show, you'll find it in Jesus Christ, period. Whatever you're going through in life, the hope that we have in Jesus is greater than anything that you're going through.
Yeah.
Period.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whenever you are out on the road and on tour, do you feel like an evangelist? Or do you feel more like you're a musician? Do you feel like it's ministry, or what does it feel like?
Totally ministry. Especially this tour, because this tour had a very specific mission of bringing hope to people's lives. And there would be times whenever I would be on stage and the Holy Spirit would be changing my set list on the spot. But not a whole lot of people would know that.
Right.
And the Holy Spirit would tell me to go this direction or to say this. And there would be times whenever people would come up to me, they said, what you said at this time of the show, like, that's exactly what I needed to hear. That's what exactly, like, the Holy Spirit's been telling me. And, like, those are times when I'm like, man, it's like I'm a traveling evangelist.
Right.
This is ministry. And with that, ministry, it's not easy. There are blows from the enemy that you have to withstand. There's times whenever it's like, okay, why is this hard? Well, I'll never forget a sermon that I watched on YouTube where the pastor was like, you know what, doing ministry like this, your steps are kicking up dust, and the enemy doesn't like it. But what an honor it is if our steps are kicking up a little dust.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah.
You know,
growing up, I've had people ask me before about being like, are you a preacher or something like that? I was like, I've never thought, even now, I don't know. But if somebody asked you when you were a kid, like, do you think you're going to be a traveling minister? Do you think you're going to do ministry on the road, even do some form of evangelism? What would you have said?
I probably would have said, I don't think so.
Yeah. And so it's like a change. And that's how it's like it has to be God. It has to be God. Because there was nothing, in you or, at least thought like, oh, I could do that or I'm called to do this. But whenever God puts that calling, it kind of lines up with the desires of your heart.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was something that started just like, coming up from the inside, like you said, it has to be God. Because, I never would have thought that I would be doing what I am now,
Wow. So the homecoming show is November 2nd, and I'm sure all of your focus is on that. But what does next year look like for you? Because this year was just nothing but touring. Are you going to get back on the road, the studio, or what's the plan?
Studio. So I actually I've written several songs, quite a few songs on the road this year that I need to get in the studio and work them out. One in particular that I'm very excited about. I hear songwriters a lot say that in your heart whenever you've written your hit song, and I did this year. I know for a fact, and because God has told me, and so that's a song that I need to narrow down or nail it down this winter. And so I think I'm gonna be doing a lot of studio work over the wintertime. It's gonna be nice to do it at home. Wake up in the mornings, have coffee on my front porch, break out the guitar, do some stuff like that.
Yeah, I saw you post on social media saying like, hey, I did something that I haven't done I can't remember. I'm on my front porch having coffee.
Yes. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Like there was times whenever I was touring this year and I would fly home for a few nights and then I would go back on the road. I'd say park my van in like Colorado or park my van in California or wherever I was. I'd park my van somewhere and go home for a few nights. And those times I'd wake up I'd wake up, where am I?
Yeah. Yeah.
And but it feels good to wake up in my own bed, take a shower, my own shower, and something I'm very thankful for. But yeah, to answer your question, over the winter time, I do think I'm going to be doing some touring. That's pretty evident. Like the festival in the UK, they've already asked me to come back next year. Some other festival inquiries. Some retreats that I'll be leading worship at next year. So I think more touring, but also writing, recording, and probably release another music video or two.
Awesome.
Over the winter break.
Whenever you go into the studio, is that something that you are like producing yourself, or do you work with somebody, or hey, I need help me work out this song, work with the writer as well? Usually I write everything on my own, and then I kind of have like so my engineer and producer, like, we'll sit down with the songs and just kind of work out a map of like structure of the songs, and we go record in Nashville, and that's whenever we get a bunch of local guys in that area where we sit down and everybody will kind of like, they'll hear the songs and then they'll throw in their 2 cents of like, what if we did this? What if we did that? And like kind of a day of pre-production. And then the next day we go into the studio and we're done in like 6 hours. Yeah. So that's probably the most cost-effective way.
It is.
Map, having the map, working with somebody, and then going and using the studio space.
Yeah, because you could book studio time per hour.
You could live there. Yeah, you can end up living there.
Yeah. And as OCD as I am, like, if we don't have a map, then the song could change like 3 or 4 times before we're like, all right, this is what it is. Then you spend so much money on, just trying to figure out where the song's going to go.
Yeah, and you're independent.
I am.
So that's you, Justin Gambino. The LLC, Justin Gambino. You're self-funding, your projects.
Yeah,
with the help of whoever wants to support and
absolutely,
and God, pretty much.
Absolutely. So the last year and a half, I've been a 501c3 where I have some people that have, I guess, jumped on the bandwagon, I guess you could say, and like have helped me throughout the last year and a half of, donating. But yeah, I was even talking to my wife the other day. I was like, a lot of people don't understand that, like, I was able to release this EP that I'm about to release and get it in my hands, like an actual physical copy, from the last 2 years of touring. the last 2 years of touring has like basically funded this EP that, you know, I'm just like, oh, I can't believe it's here. I can't believe it's in my hands. You know, these songs I've been writing on, you know, one song is 7 years old that I've been sitting on it. Like I felt like because this EP is more of like a story. It's more of like a storyline. And, so it has a message in it, but, yeah, I mean, the last album was Kickstarter funded. It was funded by, I think that was 2016.
Mm-hmm.
But so 2016 and then 2017 released the record. Then the touring years of 2018 and 2019 this year has funded this EP.
Yeah.
So it's been, it's always a grind, man. It is a constant grind.
Is it easy to write songs on the road? It seems like it'd be, in some ways easier, in some ways a lot harder.
Sometimes it can be hard just because it's a little bit difficult to have that time. I mean, tour life is just going. I mean, you drive 300 to 400 miles, you get to where you're going, you go to sleep, you wake up, you start setting up sound checking, or you're going to have a radio interview, or you have phone interviews if you're not in that city yet for the radio interview. So it's like, I mean, just one thing after another. And then, you know, you're also worrying about like, okay, where am I going to eat today? What am I going to eat? Where am I going to sleep? You know? And it's hard in that aspect, but sometimes it can be easy because technology makes it easy these days. Like I can bring up my voice record pro voice memo thing, and just like if I have a song idea, I can sing it into my phone.
Yeah.
And save it right then and there. I've done that quite a bit. I found myself 11,000 feet up in the mountains in Colorado hiking a trail, and I didn't think a song idea was going to hit me. But then here I am, like, I'm hiking up this mountain. It's a day off, and I'm, like, singing into my phone.
Yeah.
And funny story, I was actually doing that whenever I came across a herd of elk, and they saw me before I saw them. It was kind of scary. It was kind of scary. But yeah, I also travel with, like, a small recording setup, so I can actually record demos on the road, where I have a couple Yamaha monitors with my computer, and just, you know,
you can just set it. I mean, it's in the van. You just set it up somewhere. Or
I can just break it out of the van and set it up wherever I have power.
With the elk,
You know?
if you have like a generator or something, you're like literally like, I'm trying to get some ambient elk noise in the background of this.
Yeah. I got a power converter. I got a power converter in my.
Out.
Yeah. I mean, I have a really nice studio mic that I travel with, and so like I can break it out.
That's cool.
I can do stuff on my phone, or I can have like a really nice, decent recording for a demo, you know, where I can just like lay it down. And
yeah.
So in that aspect, sometimes it's easy to do it.
Yeah. So I've heard stories, you know, of tour life. Even sometimes like, hey, we're living on $3 a day.
Yeah.
You know, do you break it down that much? And does it really get, you know, for you like, hey, I'm counting on, hopefully, you know, if somebody welcomes you in, you know, they'll probably feed you, or I'm at that point where I got a budget to be able to make it.
Oh yeah, I'm constantly budgeting on the road, constantly.
Are you a natural like budgeter, like organization is your thing, or?
Yeah. I'm very organized. I like to have a game plan. I like to have not only have a plan, but a plan of execution. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I like to have a plan. I like to have it, you know, if not in my head, then written out. And I mean, probably at least 3 to 4 times a week, like I'm looking at my budget. I'm like, okay, I can spend this for this, or I can spend this for that. And then there's some times where I'm like, okay, this is something that's going wrong with my guitar, but I can break out this guitar instead, and I can push that back till next month, because really I need strings before I can afford to do this.
If it was me, it's like automatically got to go buy a new guitar. The string broke. I know.
New guitar.
Yeah.
Hear it from the wife later. It's like, you did what?
Yeah. Man. Hey, is it the military background that kind of help instill that, hey, organize, kind of have it planned out?
I think so. I mean, just even being not only budget, like being organized with my budget, but also with everything. Like my clothes in my suitcase are all folded neatly, and when I take off my boots are side by side, left on left, right on right. And it's like, it would drive me crazy if I just like threw them across the room. But that's me though, you know. And I was never really like that before the military. It was just something that the military, put in my head, and it stuck.
That's life.
It's life now.
That's life now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I feel it's a good thing, especially if you're on the road. See, I'm more, and you probably know this, here at KHEA, a lot of the times we just kind of wing it, and
there's days of winging it, trust me.
sometimes there's beauty in it, but it doesn't hurt. Like, I've had a couple of guests this week bring in talking points, and I'm like, hey, this is awesome. And like being able to skim this, it helps. Like, hey,
Yeah.
having somebody plan it out on your team, and it's a big deal. That's a big help.
Yeah. But there's sometimes I enjoy the chaos. Because you just, I don't know. So I think sometimes to us it feels chaotic, but really it's just like an opportunity for the Holy Spirit to lead.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Too much structure at times.
Yeah. I think it's good to have structure and be organized and stuff, but then there's times when you're like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen here.
Right.
And we're just going to go with it.
Sometimes during church services, I feel like whenever there's too much of a structure, I've been in places where I feel like the pastor, and I don't know if he's doing this on purpose, but he doesn't want to limit the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we're going to break out of this, Well, they want, 23 minutes of music. Nope. We're going to break out of this and let it give room for the Holy Spirit and not try and limit the move of God.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I can't remember what church I was at on the road this year, but I remember one time the pastor was asking me, he was like, hey, how much time do you have planned for the worship? I was like, it could be 15 minutes. It could be an hour and 15 minutes. Like, I don't know. I was in Georgia, and they were like, it was supposed to be a Justin Gambino live in concert, something like that. But it was going to be me and my guitars. Like, it was just me solo. I didn't have a drummer, didn't have a cellist, didn't have a bass player, didn't have any of that. It's just going to be me. And right whenever I got there, before I started setting up, I started feeling like the Holy Spirit was like, just let me do me tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I it was, and usually whenever it's like, Justin Gambino live in concert, it's like hour and a half tops, and bro, it's 2.5 hours of worship.
I'm going to say an hour and a half is a long time.
Yeah.
And then, 2.5
It's
hours?
at least an hour from
Yeah.
whenever I perform or share songs and stories. And 2.5, we were going on 3 hours. And I was just leading worship, and there was just times where I didn't even refer to my set list. Like, all right, it would just be flowing, and then there was times when I'd just be playing the guitar, and I would just back away from the microphone. I wouldn't even say anything. And I remember we started like right at 7, and then the pastor came up, and I was like, huh. And it just felt like, 45 minutes to an hour. So I wonder why he's coming up and, basically stopping me. And I looked at my clock, and I was like 9:30. I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, at least he wasn't supposed to preach, right?
No, he wasn't supposed to preach.
It was a music night.
It was a music night.
Worship.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was super special. And afterwards, I was like, bro, I'm so sorry I didn't know it was 9:30. He was like, no, bro, you're good, man. You're good. No worries. Nothing to be sorry for. It was amazing.
Wow.
Like, okay.
So if you're playing for an hour, about how many songs is that?
8 to 10.
Yeah.
Depending on if I want to tell a story or share a testimony or something like that. 8 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, whenever there are schedules, like you talk about creation. I know you've played the ones here in the States, and then talking about the UK, and they give you however much time they give you, but it's always tricky planning that out. It's like, okay, they give me 26 minutes or 30 minutes, or like, okay, how many songs am I going to rush through that?
Yeah,
is that
it takes
hard?
some planning. Yeah, it's a little difficult sometimes, but like. Whenever I was in the UK, for example, I think I had a 35-minute set, and I was like, okay, we're gonna plan 5 songs. 5 songs are usually about 25 minutes, but I really feel like I'm supposed to tell the story of this song, which could be a minute, could be 3 minutes, who knows, And I said, but on this song, I would really like to, kind of circle back. If I was doing a worship song on that set, I was like, I'd like to circle back and do this bridge again. So this 5-minute worship song could be a 10-minute worship song, depending on how the people respond to it.
Yes.
And it was one of those moments where the audience really responded, and we just had a moment of worship for like 2 or 3 extra minutes.
Yeah.
And I was still able to end I think I ended like 3 minutes before my set ended.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always good.
Yeah.
It's always good whenever the production team's like, oh, he ended early. It's great.
Yeah.
Instead of it like, now you're seeing it in red and like negative, like, okay,
You set everybody back.
exactly.
That's the worst.
That is the worst.
But you travel a lot of times by yourself or with a limited band, and so that would be a benefit. It's like, well, I can get on stage quicker. And creation is usually backlined or, some of those big things, which kind of helps cut down. But it's just like, hey, it's me and a cellist.
Yeah.
Can I have some extra time? Like, I'm up here earlier.
Absolutely. I remember I was, the day I was on stage, Pat Barrett was there, and Lucy Grimble. And Pat Barrett, of course, did his sound check first, which took the longest.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lucy Grimble did hers, which wasn't as long. But, like, I think by the time I got to do my sound check, it was 45 minutes past the time slot of, like,
Wow.
when I was supposed to sound check. But I was like, but our sound check was done in, like, 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's, like, super quick. Super
Good to go.
Easy. Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Man. So you got invited back to the UK again for the next one?
Yeah.
When is it?
It's going to be I know it's going to be August. I'd have to look at the dates.
Okay.
It's like somewhere around that first week of August.
Is there anywhere in the world that you haven't had the opportunity to play yet that you want to see if God will allow?
Yeah. Australia, Alaska, Ireland. Let's see. The Philippines. I want to go to the Philippines, bro.
Why?
I actually have quite a few people that follow my page on the Philippines.
That's
And
cool.
From the Philippines.
Yeah.
I don't know what part of the Philippines.
Sure.
But like I was saying earlier, like sometimes I go to my page and check my Facebook page and see what people. There's like over 10,000 people that follow my Facebook page from the Philippines alone.
Really?
Yeah. So I need to go to the Philippines.
Pretty much.
I really want to go to the Philippines.
Have you researched to see why?
No.
No. Yeah.
No. Like whenever I was looking at like where like different countries and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm.
there's like over 10,000 people that follow me from the Philippines, and I was like, that is crazy. I need to go to the Philippines. I need to go to Manila or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have a pretty good sized social media following.
Yeah.
Do you credit? Well, I'm sure there's a lot of things that go into that. What would you say? Is that the constant touring? What is it? The social, keeping people up to date on social media?
I think it's just a combination of it all. The music videos that are airing on TBN network, Juice TV. Radio stations like you guys that play my music. I mean, it all. I mean, it's not just stuff that I do. It's not just being consistent on social media. Yes, that's important part of it. And updating stories and stuff like that, and putting content out on YouTube, and keeping up with releases, making sure that you're releasing music like on a regular basis. Not allowing too much time in between there. There's a lot of stuff to factor into it, but it's just everything that that gets thrown into this bowl, and it's like, okay, it's either going to be. There's a really cool story. I was posting flyers for the homecoming show, and it was in Bay City. You know where Bay City is?
Oh yeah.
So I was in Bay City. I walked into the Mustard Seed, which is a Christian bookstore,
Mm-hmm.
a music store. I walk in, and the lady behind the counter is like, Justin Gambino just walked through our door.
Wow.
And the funny thing was my music video just aired on TBN. They had the TV on. My music video just ended on TBN, on Juice TV. It ends. I walk through the door. You
That's
can't plan
awesome.
that. I mean,
Yeah.
that's God, like it's, so everything,
Look at the TV. Look at
all
you.
these
What?
all these things that we can plan, and the music release, and keeping up with social media, and being consistent, and releasing music videos, and the radio play, and all that stuff. But in the midst of all that, God's just orchestrating it all the details.
Mm-hmm.
To where it's like, I mean, yeah, I think the social media following, just people jumping on board and listening to the music and being ministered to in the music. I mean, all that wouldn't be even taking place unless it was God orchestrating it all. So,
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah, man.
Bay City, I think they have a radio station there. Have you ever seen it? Like when you're driving through the main way, it's on the right, and there's like a gym next to it. But they have a pretty cool little downtown. It reminds me of
The downtown area is cool.
it, like Angleton, downtown Angleton, kind of.
Kind of.
A little
Kind
bit,
of.
but they have like more on both sides.
Their
and then
stuff is
obviously
more of like it's like a legit
strip.
square,
Yeah.
where it's around the courthouse.
Mhm.
Like Angleton downtown, you got like Velasco, the main street, then you got the 35. So it's kind of like a intersection where it's kind of like the downtown. But then around where the courthouse is, like it's kind of like a residential area too.
Yeah.
So it's kind of laid out kind of weird, but
Yeah. The architecture, like the buildings, that's like,
beautiful.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely beautiful.
I saw a story. This was probably like 5 or 6 years ago, but at that radio station, the singer for the Smashing Pumpkins was for some reason going through Bay City. He saw that radio station and he stopped, and he was like, "What's going on in here?" and got on air.
Really?
It was pretty neat, and I saw a video of it. It was shared out. But I was like, I pass by that radio station often because my buddy lives in Markham. Well, you probably know
Okay.
Jonathan Solis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a pretty talented musician as well. So I've recorded some stuff down there with him, which
Okay.
he lives in Bay City, but
Okay.
grew up Church on the Rock, which they changed their name. But I don't know.
Okay.
Pretty cool people out there.
I didn't see the radio station, but I wasn't looking for one either.
Next time, if you're ever through Bay City, head into Markham for some reason.
Okay.
Nobody's heading unless you're Jonathan. And look to the right. Look to
Unless
the
you're
right.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Shout out to
That's
Jonathan.
about it. He's from Bay City to Markham where the church is. Hey, we got about 8 minutes left. Is there anything else we haven't touched on that you want to or we need to?
I can't think of anything, man. We talked about the new EP out, which is actually available for pre-order on iTunes and Google Play right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we talked about the website and the homecoming show. Man, I just want to send out a personal invitation to everybody that's listening. Just come, and if you're needing hope in your life right now, whatever you're going through, you can find hope at this event next Saturday down in Lake Jackson. I'd love to see you there. And make sure you bring your singing voices because we're recording a live album, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
What's the name of the venue?
It's called the Clarion. It's at the Brazosport College.
Okay.
It's a beautiful venue. But it's not very big. It's 600 people. It can sit 600. And so I think it's going to fill up quite nicely.
That's awesome.
I'm looking forward to it. Plus, it's been a year and a half since I've performed in my hometown. So,
what's the feeling down there? Like, what's the feeling? Have people told you, like, hey, I'm excited, like, finally you're going to play? Why have you been avoiding us a year and a half? Seriously?
I haven't had anybody ask, like, why are you avoiding us?
It's been a year and a half, Justin.
But there have been a couple people that said, like, hey, when are you going to perform back home? Like, it's been a year and a half.
It's time.
Yeah, it's time. And so, I mean, yeah, and that's what happens whenever you get busy. Just time flies. And you're just like, whoa, where'd the last year and a half go? Been touring and in the studio and recording and gearing up for this new release. And it just flies by so quick. But whenever I was thinking, because last year, I did a album release and like a send-off show where like I left for tour. It's like, it'd be cool to come back home from tour and do a hometown show, like a homecoming show, like a welcome home show.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm excited, man. But the vibe down there, I've been going door to door, posting flyers around town, like businesses and stuff like that.
I didn't know if it was like neighborhoods, like
No, I won't be doing that. Like, hey,
come on out.
And some people have been saying like, oh wow, yeah, I've been seeing this in the paper, or I've been seeing this on Facebook.
You're in the Facts.
The Facts is posting it next week.
Yeah,
next Friday.
I saw you had posted something like, hey,
Yeah.
the Facts.
The Facts
Let's go. Yeah.
is publishing it next Friday. So I just did my interview with them. And another local newspaper has been putting it in their paper for like the last 3 weeks. And so people have been saying like, oh yeah, I've been seeing this on Facebook. I've been seeing this in the paper. I've been seeing this, the flyers around town, and we plan on being there. And so it's really cool to see how like people support local. I think that's anywhere you go. People want to support local talent, local business, local artists.
Yeah, I've heard some ministers say that, and I guess this is in the Bible, about how Jesus had to leave like his hometown.
Yeah.
Because
Mark 6:4 or
wasn't
Mark
accepted.
4:6.
Yeah.
A prophet is not without honor except in his hometown.
Isn't that crazy?
Something like that.
Well, and I wonder, there's a lot of things that go into it. I've talked to people about it before. It's like, well, they say, oh, well, we grew up in the same environment, and sometimes, it could be a lot of things, but
yeah,
just an interesting thing.
And I experienced that firsthand. Where Mark 6, chapter 6, verse 4, then Jesus told them, a prophet is honored everywhere except in his hometown and among his relatives and his own family.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
Probably a bunch of different stuff.
But I've noticed that like whenever I left home I get a ton of support from my hometown. I get it. I mean, I'm not bashing my hometown in any way whatsoever. Like we're live over the air. Like I'm not, you know what I mean?
Love you guys.
I love my hometown.
Right.
But I do feel like I had to leave my hometown for a little bit I guess I wouldn't say that no one took me seriously before, but maybe people were like, wow, Justin's serious about this. He's passionate about this. And it just sparks this flame where they want to be passionate with me. Like, I'm passionate about this because you're passionate about it. And that's my prayer, man. I pray that people see my passion and they're like, man, I'm passionate because you're passionate, and I want to support this. And so I think that's kind of how it all works with, like, that scripture. Like, you got to get away from your hometown just a little bit, and people will jump on board, I had someone message me, DM me on Instagram the other day, and this lady was local to me. She owns a local business, and she was like, her words were, I should have looked you up a long time ago. So that kind of tells me that, like, she's known about me, but now she's like, no, I'm following you. I'm listening to the music. I should have done this a while back.
Yeah.
And so.
Well, glad you're here now. Really,
man,
like, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so thankful for my hometown. I'm looking forward to next week. It's gonna be a blast.
Cool. Yeah. So even like, it's never too late, and I wouldn't say jump on the bandwagon, but the support from the local business is like, thank you. It's okay you didn't look me up now. Thank you for looking me up now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, whenever I just told you about the story about how I walked into that place in Bay City, and that lady was like, she knew exactly who I was.
That's cool.
And she was like, oh my gosh, Justin just walked into the store, and then I walk into the next place, and they're like, and who are you?
Yeah.
It's super humbling.
Yeah.
Man.
Hey, so what is the final goal, the vision? What do you feel like is in your heart that God put there or is putting there? What's the final vision for everything, your ministry?
Bringing hope to the hopeless. That's what it all comes down to for me. It's my hope and prayer that people experience Jesus through the music, and that, every time I hit the stage, every time, my prayer is, Lord, I want you to be seen, not me. I want you to be heard, not me. I don't want to be the person up on stage talking about myself or talking about the music. I mean, yes, it's important to promote yourself and all that stuff, and that's where, like, it's hard to dance on that fine line,
right?
Where business meets ministry or ministry meets business. But what it all comes down to is, like, I want my life of ministering to people to overflow into the music. I don't want the other way around. Does that make sense?
It does, yeah.
So bringing hope to the hopeless, that's my heart through the music.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And also, I've heard even Pastor Hallam, our pastor here, share, like, if I share these stories, it's because this is what I've lived. This is the stories I have. If I knew your story, and sometimes I do, if you're open, maybe I'll share it. But you have to give your experience and as well. So
yeah,
that's a great prayer. Like, Lord, let them see you. More of you, less of me.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. We got to decrease for him to increase.
So can you remind everybody one more time?
Yeah.
November 2nd. Where should they be, and how can they find out all the information?
Yeah. So Lake Jackson, Texas, at the Clarion at the Brazosport College, Saturday, November 2nd, a week from today. The show starts at 7. Doors are at 6. Free Topo Chico.
Woo.
And live album recording. You get a copy of the new EP and all the details, tickets, VIP passes, JustinGambino.com. It's got all the info.
All right. I'm going to say that this hour was brought to you by Topo Chico and the Homecoming Show.
Hey, bro, I got a gift for you.
All right.
I got a gift for you.
Okay. I'm down.
Okay.
What is it?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay. Let's wait.
But you saying Topo Chico just reminded me.
Okay. All right. Hey, be blessed. Go do something positive. Go to JustinGambino.com. This is KHEA Radio 99.5 FM. Bye, Facebook. Y'all be good. Be blessed.